Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the MVC Baseball First Pitch here on MVCSports.com. As always, brought to you by our friends at Rawlings, providing the official baseball of the Missouri Valley Conference. And as normal, I am joined by our MVC baseball analyst, Shane Dennis. Shane, how are things going?
Pretty good. Getting ready for the tournaments right around the corner.
Absolutely. We're about 2 weeks away, and this weekend we got a couple of meaningful games on the schedule. The standings are really starting to they're tightened up, even from the top till we get to figure out how those seedings will play out for the conference tournament. And this weekend we're going to see a couple of interesting matchups. First of all, let's take a look at three of those games. Illinois State, Evansville. Redbirds going to Evansville to take on Cal Freeland Friday night. We know what they're all about. We've talked about the Aces a lot this year, but the Redbirds are going to try and make some noise and see what they can do taking on Evansville and really trying to catch them in the standings.
I've really been impressed with what Mark Kingston has done there. I expected them to drop off a little bit, frankly, because of all the position players that they lost, but that's just a feather in the cap for Mark Kingston, his coaching staff, and guys like Mike Hollenbeck, the veterans that returned. Paul DeYoung stepped into a bigger role and has really flourished. Also, Sean Beasley was kind of a part-time player last year. But the fact that they're right there and have an opportunity to take first place away or at least make a play for it in the last 2 weeks is really a credit to that staff at Illinois State. But, West Carroll and Evansville, certainly they're going to have plenty to say about it. This is a marquee matchup, and the schedule just looks great all the way up and down the valley this weekend.
Absolutely, and another one of those matchups on the schedule include Dallas Baptist and Wichita State. Obviously, the Patriots have been really solid all season long, and the Shockers now getting their feet underneath them and really starting to play some good baseball lately.
If someone sweeps here, I think they keep hope alive that maybe they can somehow get to the very top. They're going to have a lot of help, whoever it is. But if somebody just wins 2 out of 3, I think the best that they can do is work for just a top 2 or 3 seed when it comes to the Valley tournament. I think their hopes are out the window, both these clubs, if somebody doesn't sweep. Now, Wichita State certainly would have to get to 12-6 and hope for some help on down the road. But the good thing about Wichita State fans, you got Dallas Baptist coming up, Illinois State after that, both teams that are right there or ahead of them in the standings. And, of course, Dallas Baptist, as we've talked many times about, they were in my opinion, one of the odds-on favorites to finish at the very top of the valley just because of Dan Hefner and his reputation of recruiting great baseball players down there in Texas. So should be a good, and certainly pitching matchups will be really at a premium in Wichita this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Missouri State will be going to Terre Haute to take on Indiana State at the location of the conference tournament in Terre Haute, Bob Bourne Field. The Bears have had an up-and-down season. Indiana State's been really solid all year long. One of those teams in the Valley with a really solid RPI.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that we haven't brought up, how many teams in the Valley have won 30-plus. But if somebody happens to falter and the Indiana State-Missouri State series winner gets hot, they could leapfrog a few teams too. And everything is still up in the air as far as the seeding is concerned. This is a great weekend to jockey for position, to get into a little bit higher seed, because nothing is set in stone right now as far as the seeding is concerned. Missouri State still has plenty to play for, even though they've been kind of an up and down team. And now Indiana State's coming off a kind of a long layoff. They have an opportunity to get well and rest up a little bit. And so, the winner of that series, if they can take advantage of maybe somebody getting swept in the other series, you got a chance to reel them in, both Missouri State and Indiana State. So it'll just be a fascinating weekend of Valley baseball.
Absolutely. We'll be doing a lot of scoreboard watching and see how the standings shake out once we get to Monday morning. Shane, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it once again.
All right. Enjoyed it.
All right. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. And folks, this has been another edition of the MVC Baseball First Pitch presented by Rawlings.